Hello and welcome to Tech and Beyond, where we talk about ideas and innovation shaping our digital future. I remain your host, Peter Mary Yetinde. So what do we have to talk about today? As usual, we bring you conversations that are always insightful, informative, educative, innovative for your consumption. And today is no different. On today's episode, we'll be continuing on our series on girls and women in technology. And this time around, we'll be looking far ahead. Now, the conversation is no longer about bringing girls and women into technology, but what really happened when they are part of shaping it. So I have with me in the studio a very amazing guest. She has been a tech speaker, a very active advocate for girls' inclusion, especially when it comes to gender digital inclusion, and also cultural orientation. Some would say a gender expert. Her name is Mrs. Iklima Musa. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio, ma.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. I know you believe that this is a long time coming, and we're so pleased to have you join us today.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be here today.
Thank you. All right, so let's get into the conversation. So we know that when we talk about the future of technology, we focus more on the technical part of it, AI, cybersecurity, data, and all the likes of that. But the real question is, who is really who is making this innovation? Now, I'm just curious, what do you think the tech industry will look like if women led like half of the innovation happening today?
Fantastic. I think this is a very apt question, especially because if you look at Nigeria's population, you understand from the Global Gender Gap reports that we have a 50-50 population, 50% women and 50% men. And that means if half of Nigeria's population is left behind, we cannot fully grow an inclusive technology ecosystem. So for other countries that, for instance, have a high level of women's participation in terms of developing technology, not just users, but then architects of technology development, you understand that the economy grows better. Now, another angle of it is that women are usually at the receiving end of poverty in every nation. And if women are empowered, it means you have empowered the whole nation itself. You've empowered the family, you've empowered the community, you've empowered the society, you've empowered the nation. And the economy grows that way. So, what I would say in terms of that is the fact that for Nigeria, having that level of population is that women would be able to close up the talent gap that exists. Conferi says between now and 2030, we will have a talent shortage of 85 million. And that means that if our girls are included early enough, they would be able to close that because we already have the population. And also take, for instance, other countries like South Africa that basically just have a population of 65.5 million. In 2023, it was reported that our South Africa has more developers than Nigeria, and we have more population than them, where the country was 240 million population. So you could imagine if girls are empowered to close up that gap, how fast it would really go for the economy itself. So I would say building an inclusive economy we have to be very, very careful. We have to target our girls when they are girls, even before they become women. And that's why if I am to speak on issues like this, I begin to look at the roots and I begin to see where the issues are, because when you look at it, you understand that it's multifaceted. So it ranges probably from sociocultural norms, it ranges from illiteracy, just basic illiteracy, not even digital literacy. Then of course the digital literacy is also a problem to that. Lack of female focused networks. The fact that there is no venture capital available for our women as well. And also, if you look at where the world is going to right now, we are in the fourth industrial revolution and is currently being driven by technology.
Mm.
and especially AI. So you could imagine women and girls, or even half of Nigeria's population, let's say all, or maybe 30% of that population is into tech. Diversity happens. And that's why having a woman as part of a developer, even if it's in a team, really does help. I'll go back to STEM because we already have a leaky pipeline, and that's where the problem starts from. In Nigeria, NBS, National Bureau of Statistics, reported that we only have 22% of our girls graduating from STEM in universities. That's a huge problem. So if we are able to capture them young, especially when they are at the verge of making the decision to either go into science and tech, that will really help in shaping the future of technology in the country. That means you would see innovations happening. In fact, your grandmother's name will be spelt and pronounced correctly because women are there. Women think in a different way. Women come up with solutions to problems that are very unique to a woman. So you don't expect a man to sit down and come up with, for instance, something around maternity because he doesn't have the experience. But a woman does have an experience in that angle, and it's left for the woman to come up with the solutions to the problems in households, to their health issues, problems of health for women and children. We know where it pings. And so women will be able to come up with key solutions to solve key problems within the society in every aspect. I'm talking about agriculture also. Agriculture, you find a lot of women there that are thriving. So they understand the pains of other women as well, because for every sector, you would definitely find some biases that exist that are very much stemming from the fact that culture has shaped and has already given roles and responsibility to different genders in the society. So if we are able to break that, that would really help. Now, going back to the fact that I talked about STEM is also very important. Especially in AI. Now, under the national AI strategy, we have already said we want to build a robust AI ecosystem. That can never ever happen without women because we want to build AI professionals in the country, and we cannot build it alone with men. It is already seen as a masculine sector, not a place for women. The good thing is with the boom of AI right now, a lot of our girls are beginning to understand technology compared to years before now. Take, for instance, when we were in school, that's like 14, 15 years ago. It was a new sector, a new angle. Not a lot of people were looking into it. So this is an advantage for the upcoming generation. So I would say that we need to begin from somewhere, and that has to start from STEM education. Also, beyond that, our girls are out of school. Most of our girls, especially from some region of the country, you have like around 10 million girls out of school currently in Nigeria, as reported by UNICEF. So if we don't encourage them to go to school, we can't even encourage them to get into STEM. So firstly, they need to go to school, then they need to get into the STEM. And that's why we're talking about pipeline. And we begin to handhold them through mentorship. They also need to see role models that are doing absolutely well in the sector. There is a reason why at some point our children were telling us they wanted to be Hilda Basi because she was a good chef that has broken a record. And these are things that our children should see and take part of when our women, the existing women in tech, do very well. So they become like the role models. Then also the establishment of the networks are also good in different schools, in clubs, to do advocacy awareness programs to them to make our girls understand that technology is for them. It's not sci-fi. It's not a big deal. It's not rocket science. We need to enlighten them from an early stage. Then also ensure that when they finish school, that pipeline doesn't leak from that angle. Because why a lot of our women then do not grow in the career is because they probably get married, they take up traditional roles, they change environment. Displacement also happens. So they don't pursue their dreams of being those techies. So we need to do a lot of awareness around that.
All right. I really like that you mentioned the innovations that women can do that can really bring about real change. And I like that you, Amma, understand because that leads to my second question. I know a lot of people say, oh, this conversation has been ongoing for so long. Why are they always talking about women, women in this, women in that? Well, we need to keep encouraging ourselves. I mean, we need to keep giving ourselves reasons to want to do this, reason to want to move forward. So, just for our viewers who may not understand what STEM actually means, so I want you to quickly explain because you're actually hammering on the STEM. That was my next question. Why girls should go into STEM and learn digital skills, which you've mentioned earlier on. But for those of our viewers who may not understand what STEM is, if you can explain for them briefly, what's that?
Okay. So, STEM means science, technology, engineering, and maths. But it's moved actually significantly from STEM to STEAM
Okay.
because these things cannot happen without art.
Okay.
Why we are hammering on STEM is because that is the root of where you begin to understand technology. We're not saying it's not good for you to be in the arts angle. It's important also, but then we already have a lot of them. So even in STEM, we have a lot of nurses and they are also in science, but they end up becoming nurses. We have a lot of lawyers that are in arts, they become lawyers.
Yeah.
We don't need too much of them already. We don't need more of them.
Yeah.
We need more to go into technology. So that's why I keep talking about STEM. And it has to start from there before you could actually find yourself in the tech space. Yes. So that is the idea.
So we need more girls who are interested in decoding and encoding and cybersecurity
Exactly.
and all those data analysis and all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So we need a lot of girls in high demand skills. So high demand skills leads to high paying jobs. Remember, I also talked about the economic development of a country.
Yeah.
So if these women find themselves in those kind of professions, they are high paying, and when they are high paying, it leads to economic growth at the end of the day. So it leads to the development of a better standard of living for themselves and their family, because whatever happens with a woman is then cascaded down to family and community, and that's how an economy is grown sustainably.
Oh, that's very nice. Okay, let's move forward a little bit. So we've talked about all of the benefits and all of its goodness. What will you think an ideal tech industry for women will look like, let's say in the next 10 years from now? We have been bridging the gap, and I know we are almost there. So let's look forward. In the next 10 years, what do you see an ideal tech industry looking like for women?
Let me start by mentioning my boss, because I cannot finish this without talking about the DG, who is Kashifu Inu Abdullahi, and a he for she that always prioritizes women and champions diversity. There's a reason why he does that. He's trying to do that to create an enabling environment for our women and girls. And that's because he understands that there are structural and systemic barriers that have existed for years. And all he's trying to do is not to say, let's give women equal opportunities with men, but let's take out the barriers completely and create a better enabling environment for them. So in the next 10 years, I will say, I would look forward to seeing an environment where every girl dreams and is able to achieve her dream through technology. There shouldn't be any barrier stopping her from achieving whatever she wants to achieve just because she's a woman. Or just because her gender, the way that she's been designed, is it looks, she has the look of a woman. I mean, we shouldn't be talking about that, even at this point in our lives. So in the next 10 years, I expect that these things would be out of place completely. I also expect that the work of my boss would not stop here, would continue. And that's why he came up with the National Gender Digital Inclusion Strategy, because he really wants to include all the segments of the society, especially the marginalized groups. He wants to give them access to digital skills. He wants to give them access to the right digital infrastructure, to growing their ventures within the innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem. He also wants to train them and do so many things for our women. So I want to see that a lot of these things are implemented between now and 10 years. And of course, Nigeria's half population is included sustainably.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Klima, for this insightful information you're giving us. We really, really appreciate your time here. So we have it now that technology is not just about innovation alone, but about inclusion. And the more we bring more women into the space, the more we grow, the more we have opportunity to grow a better Nigeria or better society at large. So we've come to the end of our conversation today. And I want to appreciate our guests once again for being here. Thank you so much for coming, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mary, for having me.
All right. My name is Peter Mary Yetunde, and I remain your host. Until next time, bye for now.